Hello, friends, and welcome back to another lesson on how to get our kids reading, writing, and spelling. We've been going through each of our letters, learning that our letters have a name and our letters make a sound. We're down to just 5 letters, but I call these our special letters, and our 5 special letters are called our vowels. The vowels are actually the very first letters that I teach when my students are learning how to write their letters. And the first letter that we start with is the letter I. With the straight line of the I, it's actually the easiest letter that our students can write. The letter I makes the sound I, I, I. The I does not say E, which I do hear some of my students say. So we want to practice that phonics. It like inchworm, it like igloo, it like insect. When our students are learning their letters, we want them to recognize the letter I, capital and lowercase. We want them to know the sound that the I makes. The I says I. And now we want them to practice writing that letter I. And in my class, we always have that saying, we start at the top on the red dot, because all of my curriculum comes with that red dot, and that's where we put our pencil. Let's go ahead and trace the I first. We're going to go down on that lowercase I and the dot on top. With the capital I, we make a straight line down from the top to the bottom, and I teach that we put on the hat and we put on those shoes. Let's go in the classroom and let's write the letter I. Like always, our capital letters start at the very top on that top line, or what we call the upstairs part of our house. So the upstairs part of the house is above the dash line. Our capital letters go from the top down to the bottom, what we call the downstairs part of the house. And capital I begins up at the very top. It makes one straight line going down, go back to the top, and from the left to right, they put on the hat, and left to right, they put on the shoe. The lowercase I is only a downstairs letter, so from the top of that dash line down to the ground. And we want to make sure that our students are touching the ground, because all of our letters touch the ground. The exception with the I is that the dot is in the sky, so it's upstairs. Let's write it with our song this time.
Straight line with an extra line on the top and down below. Now it's time to go, go, go. I is just a big straight line with an extra line on the top and down below. Now it's time to go, go, go. One short line with a tiny dot above it in the sky. Now it's time to fly, fly, fly. I. Little I is one short line with a tiny dot above it in the sky. Now it's time to fly, fly, fly.
Great job, everyone. So our letter for this week is that letter I, the first vowel that we are practicing, and it's the easiest vowel to write. That letter I says I, I, I. Come on back next week as we keep working through our vowels and we start blending so that our students can start reading, writing, and spelling. I'll see you next time. Bye.